Dragon Ball DAIMA has been getting better with each episode, and episode 12 is another one that absolutely improves on the previous. Now, I saw some people saying that this fight does not compare to the Goku fight. I thought it was pretty comparable in terms of hype and animation and just the general quality of the show. I really think they are going all out, and apparently it's basically all uphill from here. So let's just go ahead and jump into the episode. At first, I was a little bit worried that this would be a Goku-centric episode. I was really looking for Vegeta to actually have a focus since he's kind of come back into the plot in a big way, and it looks like he has. So, of course, you know how Dragon Ball is. The last episode ended with Vegeta apparently being eaten, but that's not the case. He says he just needs to get used to having a child's body. And I think that's what a lot of this fight is. And, you know, Tamagami 2 really does put up a good fight. He ends up tricking Vegeta, and this giant sea monster, the Kraken, ends up swallowing Vegeta, but Vegeta turns Super Saiyan 2, flies out. Now, they actually did a good job of making Super Saiyan 2 visibly different from Super Saiyan 1 Vegeta. As you can see, the hair is a lot more spiky, a lot more lines, and of course, the signature lightning. And then, funnily enough, I guess the Kraken just decides to take his ball and go home. That makes sense. Now, one thing I wanted to mention here is that Vegeta does a really good punch on the Tamagami, and it kind of dents him. And I know it's like an animation thing, but I just think it's interesting and fun whenever Dragon Ball does this. He basically dents his metallic body or metal body, and then he comes back to normal later. So, Goku says he got the warm-up that he needed, which I guess that does make sense. He's in a child's body. He's going to need a bit of a warm-up. Now, I took a screenshot of this because I really liked how Majin Buu is fighting. He's being very stretchy. Fat Buu kind of did some similar things, but I feel like this is a very unique thing for Buu to do. So I do think that's funny. Also, I have been mistaking Majin Buu, Majin Buu, and Majin Buu's names. I'm not like confusing them literally, but if you go back and look at my other review, I might have said Ku whenever I meant Buu. I'm trying to get a little bit better with that. So Majin Buu basically decides he's putting a pause on the fight because he wants chocolate, but Tamagami 1 is not putting a pause on the fight. So Tamagami 1 keeps on going at Majin Buu, and I thought this was pretty funny. As you can see here, this was a pretty good transition. Tamagami 1 heading at the camera, then it cuts to Tamagami 2 seamlessly, and then Neva does something very interesting. I just helped them out a little and gives Tamagami 2 a power-up. Now, this is interesting because in the last video, on the preview for this episode, I saw Tamagami 1 heating up like he was getting red, and I was like, they'll probably not do a power-up on these Tamagamis, right? I just don't see that happening. Well, they did. So I guess Tamagami 3 got the short end of the stick. So once they implement the Tamagamis into like Dragon Ball Xenoverse 2 or Dragon Ball Sparking Zero, if they do it, then it looks like Tamagami 1 and Tamagami 2 may have power-ups. Maybe not transformation specifically, but, you know, power-ups like Kaioken and stuff like that. Now, this was interesting because in my last video, I was commenting on the fact that Dr. Arinsu is going to attack Tamagami 1 at the lair of Goma. And I had some people saying, is this really Goma's lair? It looks like it is because there is a bit of an explosion coming from Tamagami 1's sword whenever he hits the ground. And then the Goma and Degisu feel it inside the castle. And they're like, what could it be? And then they, of course, pull it up on their screen there. So as you can tell, it does look to be the same place. Again, I thought that was a bit of a plot hole, but it was nice of them to mention it here at least. And then, of course, Majin Buu says, "Dude, I'll go get you some chocolate." I do really like Majin Buu, and I'll get into this review as we go on, why I think he might end up being a bit more important than we're thinking right now. I don't think he's here just purely as a joke. I was thinking that in the last review, that, hey, he's just going to stick around as a joke character, but not now. So he gives Buu some chocolate. Buu enjoys the chocolate, goes crazy on Tamagami 1. Tamagami 1's barely hanging on. And then Goma pulls it up on the camera just outside their door. And who do they see? Dr. Arinsu and Majin Buu. And Degisu is also really surprised. Some people were speculating maybe Degisu is secretly working with Dr. Arinsu. That does not look to be the case because even though Degisu is turned around and he's facing away from Goma, he still has like a shocked face. So I don't think he's tricking Goma or working with Dr. Arinsu. And Goma is, of course, very surprised to see that Dr. Arinsu is working behind his back. Now, this was the image where I was like, Is this a transformation? Are they just illustrating that he's heated up for battle? But no. This is kind of a power-up, I guess you could say, that Neva gave Tamagami 2. I don't know if they're trying to say that it also went into effect with Tamagami 1 here, whenever he powered up Tamagami 2. That's interesting. Or if Tamagami 1 did it on his own. It looked like he did it on his own. And then, of course, I have one screenshot and then the next one, because it's pretty simple. Majin Buu absolutely stomped Tamagami 1. Now, this is interesting. This is where I'm thinking, dang, Majin Buu and Ku are probably way more powerful than Dr. Arinsu in different ways. So, Dr. Arinsu, when presented with this equation from Tamagami 1, says, even I can't. That's cheating. This is a scam. So, Dr. Arinsu is saying, even though she's like one of the most intelligent people in the demon realm, probably second to Marba, because, Dr. Arinsu can't create life, but, she has to go to Marba for that. But I'm assuming Dr. Arinsu, is being a scientist, is intelligent enough to claim that she's one of the smartest. She isn't even intelligent enough to complete this, I guess you could say, riddle. You have to have, like, very quick reflexes to read all of the numbers, and you have to add them up quickly. So you have to be pretty intelligent. Which brings me to Majin Buu, who is able to answer the question seemingly effortlessly. Now, what I think is interesting is that Majin Buu overhears it and repeats it, and then Dr. Arinsu is smitten with Majin Buu. Not like smitten in like a romantic way, but like very proud of her work. I do think that she's starting to view Majin Buu as like not like her child, but like she's very proud of what she's helped bring into the world with Marba. And then she keeps looking at Majin Buu like a disappointment. She says, oh, come on, all you did was watch. And Majin Buu simply says, huh. Now, what I want to bring back is whenever Marba said that the deeper you plant the seed, the dumber he will be, but the more powerful he will be. And they planted the seed for Majin Buu relatively high, so he's not as powerful as Buu, but he's apparently more intelligent than Dr. Arinsu. Now, I think this is going to matter, because Ku kind of plays this off and he's like, oh, well, whatever. And he kind of gives a smile. Now, we could be getting innocent, fun Ku that doesn't care. But I do think this is like, what? You didn't see? You didn't appreciate me? And I do think that they are going to play it as a bit of a plot of how far can you push someone and not appreciate them before he decides to just do whatever he wants. So I do think there is one thing that I want to add to this little bit of theory, but that will come at the end whenever I mention spoilers. But for now, what I want to say is I don't think Majin Buu is going to stick around as Dr. Arinsu's stooge for the whole series. I previously speculated that Majin Buu is about as dumb as Majin Buu, and he's only obeying Dr. Arinsu because that's what he was told to do. He was asked, what do I do? But he was also willing to basically not participate in the fight until he got what he wanted, which is chocolate. Very similar to Majin Buu. All it would take was someone to say, you don't have to listen to Dr. Arinsu. He could kill Dr. Arinsu and do his own thing. Same thing with Majin Buu. Majin Buu doesn't seem to be that childish, but he does seem to be that intelligent, to where he is more, I don't want to say more intelligent overall than Dr. Arinsu, but just the fact that he's showing such intelligence tells me kind of that he is somewhat capable of outsmarting Dr. Arinsu or plotting against her. And if she continues this behavior, I could see it turning into something where Majin Buu and Majin Buu would basically just betray Dr. Arinsu, because there's a lot of betrayals going on in this show. I could definitely see that being a possibility. And a bit of irony in that is also something that I would say is kind of on par for Dragon Ball, like, Vegeta killing Nappa and things like that. Like, some of that irony from, like, your creations or your teammates just betraying you. Although in this case, I do think if Majin Buu did it, it would be a little bit more justified. Not necessarily justified, but a little bit more understandable than Vegeta killing Nappa just out of nowhere. Goma's, of course, surprised, and he's like, they didn't go after Tamagami 2, though, right? Yeah, they did. And then, of course, we got Super Saiyan 3 Vegeta. What an absolute amazing transformation. A lot of people were complaining about this, saying that it breaks the canon of Super. We're going to talk about that. And then, of course, a lot of people were saying that the design is bad. I think the design is okay. I would even say it's good, actually. I like the design. Again, I know. I'm completely upfront with this. I'm a Dragon Ball fanboy. It's really hard for me to dislike things about this series. But this looks good, in my opinion. Now, Goku even says, when did he learn to do that? And Bulma says he's been training by himself for so long. So, at first I was disappointed that, so he unlocked Super Saiyan 3 just by being disappointed about losing against Tagami 2 so far. But no, he was just saving the transformation. So this isn't the first time he's transformed. So I'm not too disappointed with the actual scene itself. It's not like a first time transformation scene. It's more like Vegeta's pulling this out of his pocket, just like Goku did, which was interesting whenever Goku fought Majin Buu. As far as if this breaks canon with Dragon Ball Super, a lot of people are pointing toward the scene in the Future Trunks arc whenever Future Trunks is training with Vegeta. And Future Trunks basically says for Vegeta to turn into Super Saiyan 3 like Goku. All Vegeta does in that scene is laugh and then transforms into Super Saiyan Blue. And then, I'm paraphrasing, but he basically says this power is far more powerful than Super Saiyan 3. Now, he is not saying that he doesn't have access to Super Saiyan 3. And a lot of people were interpreting that laugh as meaning, oh man, I don't have Super Saiyan 3. And kind of viewing it as a bit of a joke that he doesn't. I don't think that was the original intention. Vegeta was just laughing because, oh really, you want me to pull out a Super Saiyan 3? I have something way more powerful than Super Saiyan 3. It's called Super Saiyan Blue. So, I don't think that this contradicts Super as much as other stuff that this series has established so far. I know some people were saying it does, but I don't think it does. Other people were pointing toward the scene whenever Vegeta rages against Beerus and turns basically into Super Saiyan 2 Vegeta and hits Beerus in a fit of anger. Again, I also don't think that contradicts it because it follows the same philosophy as to why Goku doesn't turn into Super Saiyan 3 in certain scenes, because as you all know, Super Saiyan 3 is more taxing on the body. It uses more energy, so it's not as efficient as Super Saiyan 2 or Super Saiyan 1 would be. Then, of course, Vegeta basically easily takes down Tagami 2, and Tagami 2 says he gives up. I think Vegeta looks really cool here. So a lot of people were saying this is basically the best moment that Vegeta has had in a long time. I don't know that I agree with that. I think that Vegeta's had some good moments in Super's manga, but I will say in terms of actually winning a fight, this is a pretty good moment for Vegeta. So Goku took Tagami 3, Vegeta took Tagami 2, and then Majin Buu took Tagami 1. Interesting stuff going to be going on with the Dragon Balls from now on. And then I think this little riddle thing was okay. I wasn't too excited by it like I was with Tagami 3's, puzzle mystery box thing that they had, like the test at the end. But it was a fun thing nonetheless, with the riddle being a bit of a trick question. And then, of course, you got Vegeta with the Dragon Ball, always looks good. Now, I do think that they are foreshadowing that maybe Vegeta isn't going to be the one that fuses with Goku because he's hesitant to eat the revive bug. So whenever he's ready to have the fusion bug with Goku, he basically probably won't go for it because it tastes bad. There's always the possibility that they aren't going in that direction, and I am speculating a bit too much, which I have been accused of that in the past, so I could see that as being a possibility. He says he's more refined now, and he will not eat such things, which is interesting. It's kind of a callback to the original Dragon Ball Z, whenever Vegeta's first introduced with Nappa, and they're eating what appears to be a sentient species of bug-like people. And then it goes and does a close-up on Glorio's face, which I think is very interesting. I do have a theory that Glorio is working for Dr. Arinsu, of course, but he will betray her because he's seeing things about Goku and Vegeta, and they're basically changing his heart. So I do think that we may get something like that with Glorio. Well, he basically is the Vegeta or Piccolo of this series, where he will have a change of heart as he goes on and is changed. And then Goma says, in that case, because of the, Dr. Arinsu getting a Dragon Ball, and then Vegeta and Goku getting 2 Dragon Balls, he's got something up his sleeve. What is up his sleeve? Maybe he himself is going to get into the fray. But the next episode is called Surprise, so it looks like they may run into some surprises in the Demon Realm, the first demon world that they were not prepared for. Looks like Dr. Arinsu is very much treasuring that Dragon Ball, which makes sense. She's definitely putting it on a pedestal, literally. So I'm wondering how much stock she's going to place in this Dragon Ball. Obviously, she needs all 3, but we could have like a Namek Saga situation where there's like some sort of, you know, trading of the Dragon Balls, you could say, like people going back and forth between the Dragon Balls, fighting over the Dragon Balls. If you guys remember how chaotic the Namek Saga was with Dragon Balls, this could get pretty chaotic. And then, of course, you have, I don't know what those are, but something like that. So this was a funny meme that I wanted to post or share. As you guys know, the whole joke was Vegeta doesn't have Super Saiyan 3. Well, now he does. So one of the leaks that I wanted to talk about, the minor spoilers, and of course you can look at my previous videos if you haven't seen it already. This is why I wanted to mention it here. Well, as you can see, Majin Buu does not have a cape. Spoilers, by the way. Oh, real quick, I will give this episode like an 8 out of 10. I really enjoyed it. So, spoilers real quick. Majin Buu does not have a cape. And in the Geekdom 101 leaked art, again, the leaks were confirmed with Super Saiyan 3 Vegeta. So I do think that puts more stock into that Buu artwork of him having a cape. If he does decide to betray Dr. Arinsu, I could see him absorbing Goma. And maybe not even on the orders of Dr. Arinsu, but just absorbing Goma. And then using Goma to add to his own power. And then him and Majin Buu could fight or defeat Dr. Arinsu very easily. So I do think that if that cape in that artwork is supposed to be accurate, which the artwork of Vegeta was also really accurate, so I could see that being the case as well, that he will wear a cape at some point by absorbing what I believe is Goma, and then using that power to basically betray Dr. Arinsu. So just using a bit of a leak there to add on to my theory, I think that's probably likely. Now, there was another leak that Geekdom mentioned in one of his latest streams, which I guess you could say is a pretty minor spoiler, is that the last 4 episodes of this 20-episode season is supposed to go pretty crazy, a bit chaotic. So I'm very interested to see what that entails. Like I said, on the next preview, we have the Dragon Balls, and all of our characters have the Dragon Balls now. All 3 Dragon Balls are in the possession of heroes. The Tagamis are out of the plot now, basically. So maybe the chaotic nature is probably to appeal to those Namek Saga fans. So I do think I'm pretty excited for that. Anyways, guys, that will be it for this episode review. I think I said basically everything I wanted to say. Dr. Arinsu probably not making it to the end of this series. Majin Buu probably a bit more surprising of a foe than people are thinking. And then Majin Buu, pretty fun kill, pretty fun villain. And Super Saiyan 3 Vegeta, always cool. That'll be it for this video, guys. If you enjoyed it, make sure you leave a like, comment down below, and subscribe. And I will see you in the next one. Peace off.